Fred Herzog, a name that resonates with the vibrant hues of mid-20th century Vancouver, was not just a photographer, he was a pioneer of color photography, and a beloved chronicler of life in a bygone era. Born as Ulrich Herzog in southern Germany, his journey from a tumultuous adolescence in war-torn Stuttgart to becoming a celebrated photographer in Canada is a remarkable testament to his passion for capturing the essence of a place and time. Herzog's early encounter with a geography textbook sparked his fascination with Vancouver, a city he would later call home. He envisioned a place where mountains met the sea, a city with an industrial waterfront that beckoned to his love for ships and harbors. His journey took him from Germany to Canada, where he initially settled in Toronto before eventually finding his way to Vancouver. In Vancouver, Herzog's life intertwined with the world of seamen and the waterfront. He became a fireman and oiler, encountering crews of men from around the globe who, like him, had experienced the ravages of war. To his shipmates, he was known as Fritz, and later as Fred, a name that would become synonymous with his photographic legacy. Herzog's transition from seafaring to photography was a pivotal moment in his life. He documented surgeries and everyday life at St. Paul's Hospital, eventually becoming the head of the Photo and Cine division at the University of British Columbia. His stable employment allowed him the leisure to explore the city with his camera, capturing its gritty streets and its people. Herzog's unique approach to photography, marked by the use of Kodachrome slide film, set him apart in an era dominated by black and white photography. He had an uncanny ability to capture the candid moments of life, often shooting from the hip to preserve the authenticity of his subjects. Despite not attaining immediate fame during his prime years, Herzog's work endured and found its recognition in the digital age. His solo exhibition at the Vancouver Art Gallery in 2007 showcased a city long forgotten, rekindling memories and emotions for those who had witnessed Vancouver's transformation. Fred Herzog's legacy goes beyond his art, it serves as a window into the past, humanizing the working-class men and women of Vancouver's city centre. His photographs offered a counter-narrative to the prevailing stereotypes of his time, portraying a more nuanced perspective of those who lived and frequented the city streets. As Herzog's work gained belated recognition, he became a rock star in the world of photography, eliciting tears of nostalgia from those who recognized the city they had forgotten. His journey from a restless youth in war-torn Germany to a revered chronicler of Vancouver's history is a testament to the enduring power of photography to capture the essence of a time and place. Ulrich Herzog, also known as Fred Herzog, was born on September 21, 1930, in Bad Friedrichshaus, Germany. Herzog grew up in a middle-class home near Stuttgart. His father, also named Ulrich, was an engineer, and his mother was an enthusiast of the arts. Herzog's mother died of typhoid fever in 1941. During World War II, his father's factory was bombed, as was the family home, although Ulrich and his family managed to escape. Herzog remembered losing everything he owned and valued during the war. After Herzog's father's death in 1946, he was left in the care of a stepmother, whom he described as unaffectionate, and who provided him and his siblings with very limited food. Herzog was eventually taken in by relatives and worked for a brief period at his grandparents' hardware store. When his uncle passed away, Herzog inherited a folding plate camera, which he exchanged for a more reliable and manageable Kodak Retina. With this camera, he taught himself photography. Herzog immigrated to Canada in 1952 and initially settled in Toronto. He ran out of money before the end of his first day in the city and was forced to pawn a collection of coins and a photographic enlarger. Later that night, while sitting on his porch, he met a South African medical photographer named Pharaoh Shelley Marinkowitz. The two men decided to get their own apartment and build a darkroom they could share. Marinkowitz quickly became a close friend and mentor to Herzog, introducing him to medical photography, which Herzog later turned into his full-time profession. In 1953, Herzog moved to Vancouver, where he found employment at Union Steamships. His colleagues gave him the nickname Fritz, which later evolved into Fred. In 1957, he secured a job at St. Paul's Hospital as a medical photographer, documenting surgeries and skin diseases. This led him to a managerial position at the University of British Columbia in 1961. By the end of the decade, Herzog had a full-time job teaching photography at UBC. He also taught at Simon Fraser University. During this time, Herzog spent much of his free time walking around Vancouver, capturing thousands of photographs of ordinary people, going about their business in the bustling port city. Fred Herzog estimated that he took over 100,000 color photographs and more than 30,000 black and white photographs throughout his career. He often walked through Vancouver for extended periods, capturing what he saw. These photographs primarily document street scenes, and street life in the downtown East Side, focusing on ordinary people going about their lives, spaces and places, and the transformation of old Vancouver, a city of wooden houses and small brick buildings, into a new and modern metropolis of glass and concrete skyscrapers. Although Herzog didn't know it at the time, he was documenting the old heart of Vancouver before it underwent a complete transformation. His subjects often included the working-class people of Vancouver. Ethnic, cultural, and racial minorities also played a significant role in his work, as did storefronts and neon signs. Herzog's work sharply contrasts with the stereotypical photographs of Vancouver, which often focus on the city's major tourist attractions, mountains, ocean, and nature in general. Herzog's distinctive style was not widely appreciated for much of the 20th century, as serious fine art photography, by convention, was almost exclusively in black and white. At one point in the 1980s, Herzog attempted to donate his photographic collection to the National Gallery in Ottawa, but they rejected it, stating that they were only interested in black and white photography. Later on, the gallery did add 40 of Herzog's photographs to their collection, all prior to his passing. Herzog used Kodachrome slide film, which produced vibrant and highly saturated color photographs. He also often shot from the hip to ensure that people didn't notice he was taking the photograph, as he believed that awareness of being photographed would ruin the shot and erase the authenticity of the moment he was trying to capture. For many years, Herzog was something of a mythical figure in the Vancouver art scene. He was revered by a few but mostly unknown to the general public. Much of his work remained in boxes in his basement, as he couldn't produce prints that met his aesthetic standards. However, when he was in his 70s, printing technology advanced enough to allow for faithful reproduction of the texture and depth of his vibrant color photographs. Herzog's first solo exhibition at the Vancouver Art Gallery in 2007 turned him into an overnight sensation. It earned him widespread recognition and led to the publication of several collections of his photographs. He later held additional exhibitions in Vancouver and one at the National Gallery in Ottawa, as well as in Berlin, New York, London, and Hamburg. "I found photography, and then perhaps photography found me," Herzog said in a 2012 documentary about him. In 2010, Herzog received an honorary degree from Emily Carr University of Art and Design. In 2014, he won the Audain Prize for Lifetime Achievement in the Visual Arts, one of British Columbia's most prestigious artistic awards. Also in 2014, Canada Post featured his iconic 1960 photograph, Bogner's Grocery, on a postage stamp. Herzog married another German immigrant, a flight attendant named Crystal, with whom he had 2 children, Ariane and Tyson. They lived together in a modest home in Vancouver until Crystal's passing in 2013. Fred Herzog passed away on September 9, 2019, in Vancouver at the age of 88. In the world of photography, there are those who capture images, and then there are those who reveal the essence of life through their lenses. Fred Herzog was undoubtedly one of the latter. His life and work invite us to a profound reflection on the beauty of the everyday, and the importance of being aware of the world around us. With his camera in hand, he ventured into the streets of Vancouver, a city that few saw as a photography hub in those days. Herzog became a witness of his time, documenting urban life in a time of transformation and change. His photographs were a faithful reflection of the common people who walked the streets, the vibrant colors of the 1950s and 1960s, and the stories hidden behind every face and every corner of the city. But beyond the images themselves, Herzog managed to capture the authenticity of everyday life. When looking at Herzog's works, we can't help but wonder, how many times do we overlook the beauty that surrounds us in our own everyday lives? How many valuable stories and moments escape our attention while we are immersed in thoughts that lead nowhere? Herzog teaches us that true magic lies in the ordinary, in the little things that make up our lives. His lessons go beyond photography. They remind us that every moment is precious, that every human encounter is an opportunity to learn and grow. He invites us to be observers of our own surroundings, to appreciate beauty in simplicity, and to find meaning in what may seem trivial. So, how can we apply Fred Herzog's teachings to our own lives? We can start by looking around us with fresh eyes, with a gaze of appreciation and wonder for the small wonders that surround us. We can learn to value authenticity in ourselves and others, seeking beauty in truth and the simplicity of things. Fred Herzog left us a legacy of moving images and a life philosophy that transcends the boundaries of photography. He reminded us that life is a collage of fleeting moments, and that true wealth lies in the ability to appreciate them. Life, after all, is a constantly evolving work of art, and Fred Herzog showed us how to find its beauty in every corner of our own world. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. This way, you'll always stay up to date with all the videos I produce here. Until the next one. See you later.